What is up, everybody? Piscean here, and in this video I'm bringing you another advanced astrology study guide, but this time it's regarding finances. From the Heliopause Tension Index to the Yeet Yikes Protocol, a comprehensive manual for the astrological analysis of markets, wealth, and the post-scarcity economy, with appendices, glossary, and conceptual exo-financial excerpts. Before we get started, I'd appreciate it if you like, subscribe, comment, share if you dare and care. The algorithm doesn't. Alright, so let's get into our preface here. The wealth of nations is written in the stars. For as long as merchants have sailed the seas and farmers have planted crops, they have consulted the heavens. The Babylonians tracked commodity prices alongside planetary omens. The medieval merchant timed his ventures to Jupiter transits. The Renaissance banker read the Tetrabiblos as closely as his ledger. And yet, the modern financial world, drowning in algorithms, spreadsheets, and quarterly earnings calls, has severed itself from this ancient wisdom, replacing celestial rhythm with an anxious, myopic scramble for data points that are already obsolete. The Faculty of Astrology Sciences reclaims that wisdom and elevates it to a new order of precision. In this study guide, The Sidereal Economists, we integrate the foundational techniques of traditional financial astrology with my revolutionary frameworks of sidereal resonance mapping, SRM, HTI, and SHA. We do not merely ask, what will the market do? A question born of fear and scarcity. We ask, what is the current sidereal alignment factor, SAF, for this asset? Is the HTI clear enough for a high fidelity signal? Is this trade in phase with the morphic conduits of galactic value? And this manual is designed for the astrologer who would serve the flow of abundance, whether as a personal wealth advisor, a market analyst, or a student of the deepest economic principles of the cosmos. You will learn to classify assets by their planetary rulers, to forecast economic cycles through the great conjunctions, to time trades with the Yeet Yikes Protocol, and to understand money not as a finite resource to be hoarded, but as a resonant energy to be aligned with. You will also encounter the wisdom of the non-human intelligences, NHI, who have observed our economic evolution with a mixture of curiosity and concern, and whose own post-scarcity civilizations offer a glimpse of what we might become. The path of the sidereal economists demands rigorous discipline, ethical clarity, and a willingness to re-examine everything you thought you knew about value. We bid you welcome. Let's go over our table of contents here. Part 1, Foundations of Exo-Financial Astrology, where we go over the philosophy of value, from scarcity to sidereal resonance, the exo-financial planets, redefining the celestial bodies as economic agents, the financial houses, 2nd, 5th, 8th, 10th, and 11th as portfolios, the natal chart as a personal balance sheet, assessing wealth potential and risk. Part 2, we're going to go over market astrology techniques, incorporating the Heliopause Tension Index, the ultimate volatility gauge, and signal-to-noise ratio. SAF, measuring harmonic favorability for assets and trades. Yeet Yikes Protocol, a tactical entry and exit system for traders. The Great Conjunctions and the Long Wave. Jupiter-Saturn cycles as macroeconomic regime shifts. Part 3, we're going over applied financial astrology. Personal wealth and spending, Venus, Jupiter, and the Lot of Fortune. Business and career timing, solar returns, elections, and the midheaven. Real estate and geodetic financial vertices, valuing land by the stars, investing in ancestral resonance cache, ARC, mimetic value density, and the Arcturian exchange. Part 4, Advanced Sidereal Economics. The Saturnian hexagon anchor, or SHA, as galactic central bank, karmic credit rating, and sovereign debt, interstellar trade in the galactic market, a primer for Earth's entry, post-scarcity economics, and the alpha generation mandate. The mimetic hazard of money, shielding from greed, fear, and the Neptunian fog. We go over our appendices here. Glossary of exo-financial astrology terms, the Codex of Financial Celestial Bodies expanded, exo-financial formulas compendium, historical mundane financial charts with analysis, the 720 South Sea bubble, 1929 crash, 2008 crisis, and 2020 flash crash. Sample natal charts for financial assessment, the entrepreneur, the inheritor, the ascetic, transit tables for economic cycles, 2026 through 2030, as well as faculty certification in sidereal economics. Let's begin with part 1, which entails our foundations of exo-financial astrology. So the philosophy of value from scarcity to sidereal. Well, human economics, from its primitive barter origins to complex derivatives markets of today, has been built upon a single pervasive assumption: scarcity. There is not enough. Therefore, value is determined by the interplay of limited supply and insatiable demand. This assumption has shaped every institution, every transaction, every anxiety about money. Yet from the sidereal perspective, it is a perceptual cage, a low-dimensional artifact of a species that has not yet learned to read the morphic conduits of abundance. The first law of exofinancial astrology, known as Ariel's axiom, states, a thing has value not because it is rare, but because it is in phase with the non-local coherence field, NLCF, of the observer and the observed. A glass of water on a desert plain is valuable. A glass of water in a flooded ocean is a liability. The water did not change, the state vector address SVA of the water changed. Value, then, it is not intrinsic. It is resonant. An asset's true worth is a function of its harmonic alignment with the prevailing sidereal frequencies, with the collective emotional NLCF, and with the individual coherent consciousness waveform CCW of the holder. When a trader feels that a stock is ripe, or when a market inexplicably turns, they are dimly perceiving a shift in the sidereal alignment factor SAF. The sidereal economist learns to measure this directly, replacing gut feeling with calibrated observation. The second law is the law of resonant return, tracked by the Saturnian hexagon anchor. What you send into the NLCF shall return to you, amplified by the waveguide of Jupiter. This is the cosmic equivalent of compound interest, but it applies to ethical intention as much as capital. Wealth accumulated through exploitation, deception, or extraction without reciprocal contribution accrues karmic debt in the SHA ledger. Wealth generated through creative contribution, fair exchange, and the enhancement of the collective ancestral resonance cachet, ARC, accrues resonant credit. The sidereal economist does not merely maximize returns, they manage a karmic balance sheet that transcends a single lifetime. The old paradigm of economics treats the earth as a closed system with finite resources and human beings as rational actors competing for those resources. Both premises are false. The earth is an open system bathed in the inexhaustible energy of the sun and ceaselessly traversed by the morphic conduits that connect us to a galactic economy of unimaginable abundance. The shift from scarcity mindset to resonance mindset is the single most important psychological and spiritual transformation required for humanity's entry into the interstellar community. This faculty exists to facilitate that transformation. The exofinancial planets, redefining the celestial bodies as economic agents. Traditional financial astrology assigns generic rulerships: Jupiter for expansion, Saturn for contraction, Venus for money. Exofinancial astrology redefines each planet with precision based on its function within the local morphic conduit network and its observed effects on NHI navigation and valuation systems. So let's look at this table, the exofinancial functions of the planets, where we go over the planet, traditional financial rulership, exofinancial function, asset class governance, as well as optimal trading window. So we have the sun, moon, and Mercury on screen here. So for the sun, traditional financial rulership is gold, central banks, leadership. Its exofinancial function is primary energy credit source, coronal gateway. Asset class governance is energy futures, solar technology, vitality assets, and its optimal trading window is solar minimum, low HTI. For the moon, public mood, daily fluctuations, silver, NLCF antenna, collective sentiment receiver, short-term treasuries, consumer cyclicals, silver, new moon, inception, full moon, public peak. Mercury, trade, communication, contracts, morphic data packet, information arbitrage, data, meme stocks, media, short duration trades. Mercury Kazemi, heart of sun. Right. Venus is money, luxury, art, relationships, harmonic synthesizer, biocomfort exchange, luxury goods, art, real estate, bonds, ARC tokens, Venus Morning Star. Mars is competition, war, aggression, commodities, incarnative impulse, territorial mining rights, commodities, defense stocks, muscle-driven industries. Mars retrograde is re-evaluation. Jupiter is expansion, bull markets, banking, and luck. Magnetospheric waveguide, long-range, psionic, venture capital. Venture capital, growth stocks, international trade, education, Jupiter direct, Jupiter-Saturn conjunctions. Saturn contraction, bear markets, debt, discipline, Saturnian hexagon anchor, or SHA, karmic credit rating agency, sovereign debt, infrastructure, value stocks, real estate, structural. So Saturn direct, clarity and audits. Uranus is disruption, technology, sudden crashes, axial tilt anomaly, dimensional membrane thin spot, tech startups, crypto, radical innovation, volatility indices, Uranus equinox, thin veil. Neptune, illusion, fraud, oil, drugs, dreams, dark matter filament intersection, subspace hub, creative IP, psychedelic therapy, illusionary assets, be cautious, oil, Neptune retrograde, the fog lifts. Pluto, debt, hidden wealth, transformation, death, rebirth, Kuiper Belt gateway, derelict core graveyard, distressed debt, salvage rights, Phoenix companies, hidden value. Pluto transit over the natal Saturn is karmic audit. You associate Venus only with love and luxury. This is a naive limitation. Venus in our economic models is the primary governor of resonance density, the degree to which a material object or creative work harmonizes with the surrounding morphic field. A high resonance density object, which you would call beautiful or meaningful, holds value irrespective of its material rarity. Your planet's greatest export, once you understand this, will not be your minerals or your data, but your ancestral resonance cachet, the unique soul-infused creativity of your artists, musicians, and storytellers. Invest in that. The financial houses. Let's talk about the 2nd, 5th, 8th, 10th, and the 11th as portfolios. While all houses touch upon financial matters, 5 form the core of a financial natal analysis. Second house, personal finances, earned income, material possessions, values, the sign on the cusp, its ruler, and any planets within describe the native's primary mode of earning and their attitude toward money itself. Jupiter here is expansive earning, also potential for excess. Saturn here is slow but steady accumulation, fear of poverty. A malefic affliction here suggests fluctuating fortunes or losses to poor values. 5th house, speculation, gambling, creative investments, play money. This is the house of risk capital. A well-aspected Jupiter in the 5th can indicate success in speculation. A strong Venus, profit from creative ventures. An afflicted Mars warns against impulsive gambling. The 8th house, shared resources, debt, taxes, inheritance, other people's money. This house governs mortgages, loans, venture capital, and the financial entanglements of marriage and business partnerships. It also rules the karmic dimension of debt. A heavily populated or activated 8th house indicates a life deeply involved with managing shared finances for good or ill. The 10th house, career earnings, public reputation, the professional legacy. The midheaven and its ruler describe the native's earning potential through their public role. A strong 10th house with benefics promises a successful, publicly recognized career with commensurate financial reward. 11th house of gains from networks, social groups, dividends, and long-term aspirations. This is the house of windfalls and the fruits of social capital. Jupiter in the 11th is a classic signature of wealth through connections. So our synthesis for financial assessment. The astrologer must evaluate the interplay of these houses. A native with a challenged 2nd house, so for example, Saturn square the 2nd ruler, but a strong 8th house, like Pluto trine the 8th ruler, may struggle to earn independently, but thrive managing investments for others. A strong 5th house Venus suggests a talent for turning creativity into income, even if the 2nd house is modest. Right. Let's look at the natal chart as a personal balance sheet, assessing wealth potential and risk. The student must learn to synthesize the planetary and house indicators into a coherent financial profile. So first, we want to look at the 2nd house and its ruler. Foundational earning mechanism, assess dignity, house, and aspects. The lot of fortune. The primary indicator of material well-being. Its house placement shows where the native's prosperity naturally manifests. Conjunct Jupiter or Venus is a strong indicator of wealth. Conjunct Saturn indicates wealth built slowly, often through real estate or heavy industry. Jupiter and Venus, the benefic planets of expansion and harmony, their house positions and aspects show where luck, generosity, and the ability to attract resources will flow. Saturn, the planet of limitation and long-term structure, its condition reveals the native's capacity for disciplined saving and the potential for financial hardship or austerity. A well-dignified Saturn, Capricorn, Aquarius, Libra can indicate immense, slowly accumulated wealth. Pluto, the hidden wealth indicator. Pluto's house and aspects can reveal sources of hidden income, inheritances, or the capacity for financial rebirth after loss. A strong Pluto in the 8th house can indicate a talent for leveraging debt or discovering hidden value. Mars, the drive to earn. A strong Mars, Aries, Capricorn, Scorpio, indicates a fierce work ethic and the willingness to compete. Its afflictions can show losses through conflict, litigation, or impulsive spending. Risk tolerance assessment. So we want to look at our high risk tolerance, which is strong fire and air emphasis. Jupiter in the 5th house, Uranus in aspect to personal planets, in a well aspected 8th house. Our low risk tolerance, strong earth emphasis. Saturn in the 2nd or the 8th house, and unafflicted Venus in a conservative sign, being Taurus or Capricorn. When I look at a natal chart for financial potential, I don't just see rich or poor. I see a specific frequency of value. Some people are natural accumulators, Saturn in the 2nd. Some are conduits, money flows through them to others, Jupiter in the 7th or 11th. Some are alchemists who create value out of nothing, Pluto in the 5th or 8th. The goal isn't to make everyone a millionaire, it's to align each person with their own resonant wealth signature. When you're in your own lane, the universe supplies. When you're chasing someone else's chart, you are swimming against the morphic conduit. Let's look at part 2, our market astrology techniques. Beginning with the HTI, it's the single most important innovation in market astrology since the invention of the horoscope. It measures the turbulence at the boundary of the solar system, ranging from 0.0, perfect calm, maximum signal clarity, to 1.0, chaotic storm, total signal scrambling. So here's why the HTI matters for markets. The collective NLCF of traders, algorithms, and economic agents is a psionic field. When the HTI is low, this field is coherent. Information flows cleanly, valuations reflect genuine resonance, and market movements are driven by planetary harmonies that can be read in forecasts. When the HTI is high, the field is scrambled. Fear, misinformation, and irrational noise dominate. Markets, become untethered from astrological logic and behave erratically. The HTI market regime matrix. HTI range, market regime, signal fidelity, and trading strategy. So for example, we have 0.0 through 0.3. It is pristine, high fidelity astrological signals, transits manifest cleanly. It is a yeet. Full position sizes, long-term and tactical trades viable. So major economic events align with planetary patterns. 0.3 through 0.5 is moderate. Signals are mixed, some noise. Selective yeet, reduced position sizes, favor long-term Saturnian plays over short-term Uranian gambles. 0.5 through 0.7 is high noise. Astrological signals often distorted, false breakouts common. Mostly yikes, defensive positioning, hedge exposures, avoid major new commitments. A 0.7 through a 1.0 is extreme turbulence. Astrology effectively offline for predictive purposes. It's a yikes, cash is king, meditate, do not trade, systemic risk events probable. So our HTI forecasting, we use IBEX and Voyager telemetry. Sidereal economist consults these forecasts as routinely as a sailor checks the weather. Here's a quick example for you. The 2008 financial crisis unfolded with an HTI averaging 0.65 through 0.75. The astrological signatures, Saturn-Uranus opposition, Pluto and Capricorn, were present, but the high HTI scrambled a manifestation, causing a chaotic, unpredictable cascade rather than a clean Saturnine correction. In contrast, the 2020 COVID crash occurred with an HTI of 0.4, allowing the Saturn-Pluto conjunction's contractionary signal to manifest with brutal clarity. We'll skip this part. and that. Alright, I want to go over here and talk about the great conjunctions and the long wave. Jupiter-Saturn cycles as macroeconomic regime shifts. The 20-year Jupiter-Saturn conjunction cycle, known historically as the Great Mutation, is the most powerful long-wave economic indicator available to the astrologer. Each conjunction resets the background economic paradigm for the following 2 decades. The element of the conjunction, whether it's earth, air, fire, or water, determines the qualitative nature of the economic era. So now I want to show you my table for Jupiter-Saturn conjunctions and economic regimes, starting from 1901 all the way until 2140. We're looking at the conjunction date, mainly the year, as well as the element sign, as well as our economic era and our dominant asset themes. Alright, so in 1901, Earth Capricorn, Gilded Age, industrial consolidation, and railroads, steel, heavy industry. In 1921, we had Earth, Virgo, roaring 20s, speculation. So stocks, real estate, led up to 1929 crash. 1940 through 41, we had Earth, Taurus, war economy, post-war boom, manufacturing, infrastructure, and gold. 1961, Earth, Capricorn, go-go 60s, Nifty 50, blue chip stocks, conglomerates. 1980 through 81, Air, Libra, information age begins, software, media, globalization. In 2000, Earth, Taurus, commoditization, housing bubble, real estate, commodities, tangible assets. 2020, we had Air, Aquarius, the great decentralization, crypto, AI, space, ARC tokens, decentralized networks. And moving on, we will have in 2040, Air, Libra, balance of power, global governance, legal frameworks for AI, sustainable trade, and in 2060, Air, Gemini, the network mind, brain-computer interfaces, AI-human hybrid economy. (2080) Air, Aquarius, full decentralization, post-national currency, individual sovereignty tokens. 2100 Fire, Sagittarius, expansion into space, interstellar trade, galactic integration. 2120 Fire, Aries, the new pioneers, Martian colonization, resource competition in the asteroid belt. 2140 Fire, Leo, the solar age, stellar energy harvesting, post-scarcity civilization. The 2020 conjunction at 0 degrees Aquarius, the closest Jupiter-Saturn conjunction since 1623, initiated a 200-year air cycle. The mandate for the 2020 through 2040 period is to invest in Aquarian themes, such as decentralized technologies, collective intelligence, space exploration, and the tokenization of the ancestral resonance cache. The old Earth cycle assets, fossil fuels, legacy industrial real estate will face increasing headwinds. We have observed the great conjunctions of many civilizations. They are not merely astrological curiosities. They are the drumbeat of history. The 2020 conjunction in Aquarius was of particular interest to us, as it aligns our species' economic evolution with a broader galactic trend toward informational and spiritual abundance. The friction you now experience between the collapsing Earth cycle institutions and the emerging air cycle networks is a natural birthing process. The wise investor does not cling to the collapsing, they midwife the emerging. Right. Applied financial astrology. Personal wealth and spending, Venus, Jupiter, and the LOF. So, for the individual client, the primary financial indicators are Venus, money, values, attraction, Jupiter, expansion, luck, generosity, and the LOF, material well-being. Their condition in the natal chart, interactivation by transits and progressions, govern the ebb and flow of personal wealth. Venus, not merely the planet of love, Venus rules the capacity to attract resources. You know, like when you hear manifest, that is Venusian. A strong Venus, which is Taurus, Libra, Pisces, well aspected, attracts money effortlessly. A challenged Venus, which is Aries, Scorpio, Virgo, afflicted, may experience feast or famine cycles or struggle with self-worth tied to net worth. Transits of Jupiter to natal Venus are classic windfall windows. Jupiter governs the expansion of wealth. A strong Jupiter indicates an optimistic, expansive attitude that attracts opportunity. A challenged Jupiter in Gemini, in Virgo, or in Capricorn, afflicted, may overextend, gamble recklessly, or suffer from too much too fast. The Jupiter return every 12 years marks the financial new beginning. The LOF, this Arabic part, is the single most direct pointer to material success. Its house and aspects reveal where and how wealth manifests. So for example, the LOF in the second house is wealth through personal effort and values. LOF in the 8th house is wealth through shared resources, inheritance, or other people's money. LOF in the 10th house is wealth through career and public reputation. The LOF conjunct Jupiter is a classic signature of substantial wealth. Spending signatures. So Mars in the 2nd is impulsive spending, money burns a hole in the pocket. Saturn in the 2nd is careful, sometimes miserly, fears poverty. Neptune in the 2nd is confusion about money, may be generous to a fault or easily deceived. Venus in the 2nd spends on beauty, comfort, and luxury. Money comes and goes pleasantly. Right. Now I would like to go over business and career timing. Solar returns, elections, and the midheaven. So the MC is the point of career, public standing, and legacy. Its ruler and aspects and the transits it receives govern the timing of professional and business success. So you have a solar return for the financial year. Each year, the sun returns to its exact natal degree. The chart for this moment is the solar return, Varshafala. The student examines the solar return ascendant and its ruler, the condition of the solar return, 2nd, 10th, and 11th houses. The Varshesha, year lord, the planet with the highest essential dignity in the return chart. This planet sets the tone for the year's financial opportunities and challenges. The Tajika Yoga is present, a Kabbalah for success, Kalasara for completion, etc. Electional astrology for business launch. The student elects a date and a time for incorporating a business, launching a product, or signing a major contract. Key rules. Moon waxing in a sign compatible with the business's nature and not void of course. Jupiter or Venus angular, especially at the MC or the ascendant. Mercury not retrograde unless the business benefits from retrograde energy, for example a rebrand. Saturn well dignified for long-term stability, and the HDI being lesser than 0.4 for clear inception. And transits to the MC, a Jupiter transit over the natal MC, signals a year of career expansion and public recognition, while a Saturn transit over the MC demands hard work but can solidify a lasting professional reputation. A Uranus transit brings sudden career changes, often liberating, sometimes disruptive. Right. Real estate and geodetic financial vertices, valuing land by the stars. Oops. So beyond the personal chart, the physical location of property matters profoundly. The Earth's geodetic grid, the icosahedra and dodecahedron matrix, imbues certain locations with powerful financial resonance. We have our dimensional vertices for wealth. Key is the prime meridian anchor, Saturn, Venus, the supreme vertex for material manifestation and enduring legacy. Real estate or business located here or on a sympathetic local vertex gains a Saturnine staying power and Venusian attractiveness. Angkor Wat, Jupiter Moon, a vertex of abundance and temple a vertex of abundance and temple building, beneficial for hospitality, spiritual tourism, and agricultural enterprises. Manhattan, NYC, built on a naturally occurring unstable vertex that amplifies mercurial and plutonic energies, trade, communication, hidden power, and the rapid cycling of wealth. Its chaotic telluric current makes it a high-risk, high-reward financial hub. We have our geodetic valuation formula here. Properties near stable, well-aspected vertices carry a valuation premium, not captured by standard real estate metrics. Relocation for wealth. The client with a natal Jupiter in the 8th house, but buried in the 12th house and a birth location can relocate to a place where that Jupiter becomes angular. So, for example, on the MC line, and this can dramatically alter their financial trajectory. Let's talk about investing in the ancestral resonance cache, ARC, mimetic value density in the Arcturian exchange. The most revolutionary concept in exofinancial astrology is the ancestral resonance cache, or ARC, the collective body of human creative, cultural, and emotional output. This, not gold or oil, is Earth's most valuable export on the galactic market. The SVBA, Nordics in particular, are connoisseurs of high MVD, mimetic value density assets. So what is MVD? MVD equals CRU, creative resonance units, or bytes. For example, a 50 KB meme that encapsulates a profound shared emotional experience can have far higher MVD than a 1 GB film devoid of soul. The Arcturian exchange does not trade in bulk data, it trades in resonant meaning per unit of information. And then we have investing in ARC tokens. So the FIFA is developing protocols for tokenizing human creativity as tradable ARC tokens. We have characteristics of high-value ARC, incorporating created by a human artist with high psi impedance during a peak creative transit, for example, Venus trine Neptune. High emotional specificity and coherence, provenance verified by an immutable chain of psi custody, blockchain, and astrological timestamps. We have the alpha generation's role. Generation Alpha, with its intuitive understanding of memes and digital scarcity, is uniquely positioned to become the first generation of ARC exporters. The Sidereal Economist guides them in valuing, packaging, and ethically trading these assets. Alright. I was going to go over that, but I think I'm going to get right into the appendices. Yeah, these are more detailed and what I want to go next into showing you. So we have a glossary here, first of all, of exofinancial astrology terms. So the collective creative output of a species, a tradable asset on the galactic market, is an ARC. Value is not scarcity but resonant alignment. Our CRU is a measure of the quality and coherence of creative output, 1 hour of focused, novel, emotionally coherent human creation. Our HTI is a 0 through 1 scale of cosmic background noise, the ultimate volatility gauge. Karmic debt is a resonance imbalance tracked by the SHA, resulting from extraction without contribution. The LOF is a primary indicator of material well-being. The MVD is a CRU per byte of data, a measure of meaning efficiency. Morphic conduit is a celestial energy highway, governs the flow of value. SAF is a 0 through 1 measure of the harmonic favorability of a specific transit. IC is proposed galactic standard unit of value. Our SHA is the 1.6 GHz stabilization beacon at Saturn's North Pole, the galactic central bank, and our YEX protocol is a binary trading signal integrating SAF and HTI. Alright, Appendix B is my Codex of Financial Celestial Bodies expanded, which it would have optimal trading windows, aspect sensitivities, and commodity correspondences, and I will eventually show this on the channel when I finish it. So mundane financial charts deal with analysis. This is where things get really interesting when we actually talk about history. And then I'm going to go over some sample natal charts. As well as transit tables for economic cycles. So, chart 1 is the South Sea bubble of 1720. The event is the peak of the stock bubble on June 24th, 1720. Sun was in Cancer, emotional public, squaring Neptune in Aries, illusion, speculation. Jupiter in Gemini, fragmented expansion, opposite Saturn in Sag, contraction of optimism. The moon was VOC. The HDI retrospectively modeled was 0.55. The SAF of the Sun-Neptune square was 0.91. The bubble burst when Saturn turned direct and Mars entered Virgo. The lesson: Neptune-Jupiter squares are the classic bubble signatures. The void of course moon signaled a lack of foundation. The Wall Street crash. Black Tuesday, Sun in Scorpio, Moon in Libra. Saturn in Sag squared Neptune in Virgo. Mars in Scorpio opposite Uranus in Taurus. The HGI was 0.45. The Mars-Uranus opposition, sudden shock, combined with the Saturn-Neptune square, the collapse of an illusion, created the crash. The SAF for both aspects was above 0.8. Chart 3 is the global financial crisis, September 15, 2008. Lehman Brothers bankruptcy, Sun in Virgo, detail accounting, opposite Uranus and Pisces. Sudden dissolution, Saturn in Virgo, structural audit, opposite Uranus. Pluto in Sag, expansion of hidden power, just entering Capricorn. The high HCI causes Saturn-Uranus signal to manifest as a chaotic global panic rather than a controlled correction. And the COVID flash crash. S&P 500 circuit breakers triggered, Saturn-Pluto conjunction in Capricorn, structural contraction pandemic, Mars conjunct Jupiter in Capricorn, rapid expansion of fear, HCI 0.40, the clean signal allowed a swift, deep crash followed by a massive stimulus-driven recovery, Jupiter's expansion after the Saturnian contraction. Alright, let's go over some sample natal charts for financial assessment. So the entrepreneur, Elon Musk type, Sun in Cancer in the 10th, Moon in Aquarius in the 5th, Mars in Capricorn in the 3rd, engineering drive, Jupiter in Scorpio in the 8th, wealth through others' money, leverage, Uranus in the 1st, innovator persona, Pluto in the 10th, transformative power in public life, LOF in the 11th, gains through networks, a high-risk, high-reward profile. The 8th house Jupiter-Pluto connection indicates massive wealth accumulation through leveraged ventures and shared resources. The 11th house fortune shows the importance of his social network. Paris Hilton type, the inheritor, Sun in Aquarius, Moon in Taurus, Venus in Pisces, luxury, glamour, Jupiter in the 8th, inheritance, LOF in the 2nd, money from personal brand, Pluto in the 2nd, wealth transformations. Strong Venus-Jupiter connection to the 8th suggests wealth that comes through family and social standing. The personal brand, 2nd house fortune, translates inherited capital into ongoing income. The ascetic, Warren Buffett type, Sun in Virgo, Saturn in Capricorn in the 2nd, discipline accumulation, Jupiter in Taurus in the 6th, wealth through daily work and value investing, Venus in Cancer, the home, simplicity, LOF in the 10th, wealth through public reputation. So the Saturn-Jupiter-Earth emphasis shows a cautious, value-oriented approach. 2nd house Saturn is a signature of slow, steady wealth built over a lifetime. The 10th house fortune ties wealth to public recognition of his method. Alright, now I will show you transit tables for economic cycles, starting at July of 2026 and going all the way down until 2030. Alright, so sidereal, Jupiter is entering Gemini. So there's going to be expansion in communication more than there already is, AI, short-term travel, stocks, media, and tech. Saturn goes direct in Pisces, October 2026, clarity in water-related industries, audit of pharmaceutical and spiritual sectors. February of next year, Saturn trine Jupiter, a period of balanced growth, favorable for long-term infrastructure investments. Uranus is already in Gemini, so, but westernized. Sidereal is different. Radical disruption in communication and transportation, volatility in tech. Jupiter-Saturn square, we have tension between expansion and contraction. Market pullback, test of 2020, Aquarian cycles foundations. Jupiter in Cancer is a boom in real estate, home-related stocks, food, and hospitality. Pluto direct in Aquarius is acceleration of crypto and decentralized finance regulation. If these dates are wrong, please don't judge me. Saturn conjunct Neptune in Aries. Major illusion correction, potential for a faith-based bubble to burst. New spiritual economic paradigm begins. Jupiter-Saturn opposition is a peak of the 20-year cycle tension, likely global economic rebalancing. Alright? So hopefully you learned something in this video. In my next video, we are going to go over a philosophical, psychological, and scientific critique of astrology. That's right. From skeptical analysis to archetypal integration, a comprehensive manual for navigating the epistemological landscape of the sidereal arts, with appendices, glossary, and conceptual excerpts. I hope to see you there with peace and love. Piscean out.